This is a center rotation for all the tributes, and I mean all the tributes. To begin, you want to spawn on the South Tropical Island and throw out your Tuso. You want to make your way over to the east side, actually, of the island, and then throw out your Tuso. I know my player doesn't show up a lot here, but I will try to direct you as much as possible. From there, you want to go on your Tuso and basically just go directly east, almost a world border at some point. But your first drop will be right here, and you'll think you're on the bottom of the ocean, but you're actually not. You'll go even deeper at some point. But you want to go directly down from there and then keep following east. You might run into some mosas and stuff, but don't worry, you're Tuso, you're fast. You'll see this bottom of the ocean area, and you just keep going east. Eventually you'll see these darker rocks, and this is your final drop before you get to the Tuso entrance. You'll know for a fact that you're here if you get a huge drop, and there's also usually these blue crystals. That's a good sign. After you keep going down, you should finally see some greenish thing. Don't go in it, I have no idea what it is, but that's how you know you're in the right area. That's how you know you're in Tuso area. To really know if you're in the right area, you'll see these crystal kind of things, and basically you just kind of want to follow them to the basically deep ocean. But there's actually like a pretty much a rise point, and that's how you know you're in the right area. You don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. It actually doesn't really spawn Tusos to my calculations, but who knows. But follow these blue things, and that's how you know you're in the right area, because that's where a lot of the, I call it a cave, but it's not really a cave. But as you'll see here, donkeys, anglerfish spawn down here. But as you'll see, there's a rise kind of thing. You don't want to go down there. That's where nothing spawns to my knowledge. But up here, and you kind of just want to follow this path, that's where all the Tusos spawn. For some reason, Tusos are really rare, and you can't really find a lot, but this is probably the best spot in my opinion. But basically you just want to swim around, and eventually you'll find some Tusos. They do give 8 tentacles, so I mean you could kill 4 Tusos, or as you'll see here, if you have a high level Tuso, you'll have a better chance. And if I'm being honest, if you ever find an alpha Tuso down here, I do recommend killing it, as it gives 24 Tuso tentacles. Do be wary though, because your Tuso level might not match it, and plus a lot of creatures do tend to alert to you, so do be careful of that, but I would recommend trying to kill it. As you see, I do get 24 from alpha, which is kind of annoying because you do need one more, but it's still worth. After your Tusos, you want to go on the Basis, just stay in the water. Kill your Megalodons on the way while you do this, but you want to end up on the right side of Lava Island. There's 2 islands to know where you are. I know you can't see it or where I am, but basically Lava Island, there's 2 islands. You just want to go between those and follow the pathway, and you'll see some Basis. This isn't the main route in my opinion, but if you want to end up somewhere and maybe steal a couple Basis, I would begin here, but the real spot isn't here. You might want to cryo your Tuso because it's kind of hard to navigate over here, but the area you want to be at is Skull Island, basically right next to it, to the right of it if you're facing towards Greenob. And from there you want to throw out your Tuso. Skull Island is between Jungle and Blue Ob and Red Woods. And you basically just want to follow the shoreline right next to it. This shoreline I'm looking at now. And all the way to, I'll show you, but Swamp. And you'll see a ton of Basis. And they keep respawning and despawning at times, but do be careful of Megalodons because they kind of swarm you at some points. But here's a map down there. You kind of see it, but that's where, and you just basically want to follow the shoreline, and eventually you'll get your bassies, and eventually you'll get done with this. As you'll see here, I'm just following the shoreline, and here's my first Basi. You might want to go out a little bit because sometimes they don't always spawn directly next to the shoreline. But do be careful of the mantas as well because they can do a lot of damage. And they do swarm you a ton. Get your Megalodon teeth as well if you haven't already. But just like that, another Basi right here. Eventually you'll find this swamp area, and that's when you know you'll come to an end and loop around if you haven't got enough Bassies. I do also recommend going under the big floating island in the middle of a map. You might also find some luck there. Your next two tributes, a part of the rotation, are going to be in the redwoods. You're going to get your thylos, your sauropods, and your Meglania Toxin here. To get thylos, I would just recommend breathing on them. I'm going to just assume a lot of people are going to be on wyverns, so I'm going to use a wyvern from now on. And breathe on them, hope they get to the ground, and then kill them from there. Also, while you're doing that, if you find any diplos, I recommend killing them because you do need 25 of them, and they are really the funnest thing to kill, but they are going to be one of the things you do have to kill. While you're killing thylos and diplos, you basically want to make a horizontal kind of rotation in the redwoods to these two caves. The first cave being the main redwoods cave. There's a big waterfall to kind of direct you. If you don't know where it is, well, just kind of look it up. It's not that hard to find. Hopefully no one's in here because it is kind of common for some people to build in, but you should have easy obtaining these Meglania toxins. You just kind of want to look at the wall here and breathe on them, bite them, do whatever you want, and they'll fall to the ground. These ones disappeared for some reason, or I'm just blind. But from there, you'll just kill them, and if this does happen, they're also not that common. There is also another spot, and I'll show you that. If you're having trouble finding this spot, you basically just want to follow the redwoods wall, if you like to call it that, until you find this basically, I don't even know what to call it, mini cave. But here are the chords. I know it's hard to see, but basically just stay on the left side and you'll find this cave that literally looks the exact same as the other cave. And as you'll see here, Meglania spawns here as well. If you're still having trouble, your last spot will be this cave area really close to it, and I haven't had the best luck with finding Meglania here, so don't be surprised if you don't see some, and they are probably the hardest to see. And the only reason I saw them is actually because of the tech helmet, but this is the last spot though. But as you'll do this, you basically just want to do your rotation, go left to right of the caves, and in between you want to kill your diplos and your thylos. And as you see here, I do find a Meglania, but they are pretty rare, so don't be surprised. After that, your final 4 tributes are going to be Argy, Titanboa, Sarco, and Spino. Titanboa and Sarco are kind of together. Spino and Argy are kind of together, and you'll see what I mean by that. But to begin, you basically just want to go to the swamp and sit on the outer swamp area, not the actual swamp itself. But Titanboa spawns out there. I know I'm using a tech helmet, so it's kind of easy. But basically, just go on the outside of the swamp, and you'll see a ton of Titanboa. Not a lot of sarcos. Sarcos are kind of in the swamp, as you'll see. But definitely Titanboas on the outside. They aren't the common type to see, and you don't always get Titanboa venom, but you do get 2, so it is kind of easy, and they are kind of easy to kill as well. But that's where you get your Titanboa. I know it's hard to see, but you'll see here. Those are the cords of the Titanboa, basically placed to begin your hunt. After that, you'll probably still won't have enough Titanboa, but you do find sarcos on the way to this next area. Like I said, more on the inside are sarcos, the outside are Titanboas. If you really want to get sarcos, I would just circle the inside swamp area, basically around the floating island. But you actually want to be in this tree area, not on the outside for Titanboas. But as you'll see here, I'm going to make my way over to this next basically land area, and you'll find Titanboa, not this island, the area I'm facing now. You might find some sarco if you're lucky, but as you'll see here, basically you'll see pracers and shit, but there's plenty of Titanboa on the outside, and if you're lucky enough, sarcos will be on the shallows of the water, but definitely a lot of Titanboa. It's basically on the, I don't even know how to describe it, but left side of Green Ob, if you like to say that, kind of near snow. But as you'll see, sarcos and Titanboa, you'll definitely find a little bit more sarco, but other than that, definitely worth for Titanboa. Your next spot is the glacier next to Green Ob. You'll first want to just kill the Spinos, you'll see, and you might be up to 3, but make sure you kill them all. After you kill every Spino, make sure you kill every Spino. You want to de-render out and then come back, and usually up to at least 1 Spino will spawn, and for some reason they spawn at the, I guess, bottom of the water here, but that never happened on an official server. I don't know why it was happening here. You'll see their Spino sails, and that's how you know they're back. If you don't see a Spino right off the bat, just make sure you circle the glacier and keep circling it. You'll eventually see some Spino sails pop up, at least 1. But I would make sure to do a full circle before you head off. And eventually, if you aren't lucky though, some might not spawn. But I do promise, if you keep de-rendering, some will eventually spawn. A way to kind of buy time, in my opinion, is this is where you kill your Argies, because usually Argies spawn over here. What I typically do is kill an Argy or 2 and then come back, just to make sure you actually de-render fully and give it enough time for more to spawn. But after that, you just want to go back and do your full circle again, and you eventually get enough Spinos. This is probably the best way, in my opinion. I know you can go to like Lava Island or and go along the jungle rivers, but this is the best way to get Spinos and most efficient, if I'm being honest. And that is my senior tribute run. Hopefully this helps you. I know some other dude made it, and I would give credit if I knew who it was. I could leave his link down in the description if I remember. But props to him. I know he didn't show the Tuso and some other stuff, so I try to fit that in. But also, if there is another way to do this, leave it down in the comments, because typically I'm the one doing the center run for the boss fight. And also, I could do a video on how to do the boss fight, because I see a lot of people get wrecked by the monkey sometimes, but I have found a pretty OP spot. But thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps you.